What's up, everybody? It is time for, I guess, episode 2 of this little series that I'm doing on my last 90 days to Leadville, my prep for the race, and all of that. I did a recap in the first video, so if you haven't seen that, I'll put a link below in the description so that you can go and watch that. It should be the only other video on my channel at this point because it's fairly new. But I talked about a couple of things in the last video, just kind of an overview of what all I was going to be discussing in the coming couple of months leading up to the race, and then after the race, things like that. But I'm currently in Leadville, Colorado for the Leadville training camp. So I'm very excited about that. I was lucky enough to get to be here and attend that. So I am here in Leadville, kind of biding some time right now, about to go get changed to go head up to the Leadville Race Series store so that we can start out everything. And if you can see right here behind me, yes, there's bleachers, but right up there is downtown Leadville. Over here is actually the boulevard. Well, not the boulevard, but 6th Street. So the final stretch in the race, what you're coming up. Lately, I get a little emotional every time I see that. My why has kind of led to quite a bit of emotions. So recap a little bit of the preface as to why. So I did Leadville in 2015, completed the race, got a belt buckle. Not quite what I wanted, but in regards to the race, it went really well. Was going fantastic up until Columbine. Kind of got stuck in a conga line and didn't really get to hold the pace that I wanted to hold at said race. And so kind of have some unfinished business right now with the race. And so I'd kind of wanted to come back ever since then, back in 2015, but I stopped racing in 2016. We had our first daughter, and in regards to that, you know, the timing and your priorities change a little bit. So I spent a lot more time at home, mainly going to the gym, stuff like that, shorter duration workouts. That way I could be home with my wife and daughter. Being a dad is obviously a lot more of a priority than racing, which makes my why all that more special. So fast forward to today, it's been about 10 years since I quit racing. Was, like I said in the last video, training for the Valley of Tears in 2024, or early 2025, sorry. That didn't happen. And then I ended up identifying the Cooler Than Hell gravel race in Wichita Falls, Texas in October of that year. And I was like, all right, I didn't get to do Valley of Tears due to weather and whatnot. So let's do Cooler Than Hell. It'll be my first race back. And then in the month of July, right around July 4th, my dad got sick. If this gets a little emotional, I'm sorry. I'm just going to give it to you guys and tell you in just the rawest form. I'm not going to edit this or anything, but my dad got sick. What we thought was just some sinus stuff, then potentially pneumonia, things like that. He ended up in the hospital with what we thought was double pneumonia. Spent 3 weeks in the hospital with constant tests, constant everything, with these masses in his lungs, struggling to breathe. What we thought was pneumonia then could have potentially been cancer and all of these other things. Long story short, he was in the hospital for 3 weeks and then passed away. That's what makes this a little bit hard, but long story short, my dad is my why. Most of my greatest memories of being in the mountains are with my dad. You can see the snow-capped peaks behind me. We actually climbed a couple of those together, which is really, really cool. And sorry for the camera angle. If you're a little too close to my face, I understand. The GoPro's messed up. Audio's not really working, so I'm recording on my phone. But back to the why. So my dad was in the hospital for 3 weeks, struggling to breathe. I watched him struggle, spent every single day with him that I could over those few weeks. And then he passed away. My dad was absolutely my biggest cheerleader. He was my number one fan. Didn't matter what I did, he was always proud of me. Sorry. And he was my best friend. He's the best dad you could have ever asked for. So, in short, this race is for him. I'm doing Leadville for him. Wasn't something that he ever did. He was baffled by the fact that I did it in 2015 when I did. But that's actually why I'm sitting at a ballpark. I thought it was fitting. My dad coached me in baseball all the way up into high school. Coached my brother too. He was both of our biggest fan and number one cheerleader and all of that. But so yeah, watched him struggle in the hospital. He passed away on August 4th, 2025. Later that week, I believe the 9th, we were at his funeral. That was the day of the Leadville 100 in 2025. So we go to the funeral. Me and my brother both speak at the funeral, whatnot. And it was a heavy day, obviously, because we're saying bye to our dad, to our best friend, to the example that's led us through, taught us how to work hard, taught us how to be a good Christian. My dad was the epitome of selfless love. And that's one of the proudest things that I can say about him. He was one that loved without reservation, without barriers, without boundaries, and unconditionally. If you knew him, he loved you, and there was no doubt in your mind. So in regards to that, he taught me everything that I know. Everything that is good about me came from my dad. And all of the things that I know, if there is any wisdom in anything that I've ever said, it's either come from my dad and things that he's taught me, or my poppy, my grandpa, my mom's dad. They are the two biggest examples in my life as to how to be a faithful man, father, Christian, a leader, anything that I am has come from those two men. So, the day of the funeral, we are done with the funeral, having the family lunch afterwards, and my cousin that's doing Leadville with me, he and I were sitting there at the lunch and just trying to make conversation about other things. And he said, "Hey, have you kept up with the Leadville race at all? It's, because it's going on right now." And I was like, "No, I honestly forgot it was today." So we turned on the live stream, sitting there at lunch. There were 3 or 4 of us sitting there. My brother and my cousin and another one of my cousins, we were all sitting there watching the race. And throughout the course of that race, we listened to the commentary, the live stream, couple of interviews that were going on during that race about the air quality. There were really bad air quality issues last year whenever the race was going on, because there were a lot of fires in and around the area. And so in kind of due to the fact that the air quality was so bad, it was really hard to breathe. Me being from West Texas, I live at 3,200 feet of elevation. It's 10,200 feet up here. And that's the starting point of the race. It goes up to over 12,000 feet. It's hard to breathe anyway, much less whenever there is air quality issues from smoke and soot and all of this other stuff. So I sat there and sitting there at lunch with some members of my family watching this live stream, just listening to the interviews and things like that about how hard it was to breathe, how it was such a struggle to even get through the first couple of climbs, just because of the air quality, and hoping that people could finish the race. There were people that had to get out of the race going up Columbine just because air quality was so bad. Oxygen levels were getting too low. It was a big struggle. But I heard repeatedly how hard it was to breathe, how much of a struggle it was, and all of that. And all I could think was, I just watched my dad struggle to breathe and fight for his life for 3 weeks in the hospital. So, looking at the struggle of Leadville, this struggle is a blessing. It's a celebration of fitness that you have achieved. It's something that's a great thing. It's something that is a struggle that we are lucky to be able to take on. And that struggle is nothing compared to people that are struggling with health battles. My dad fighting in the hospital, lung cancer, any kind of cancer. I hate that word so much. And there's so much to struggle that is not favorable, and something like Leadville pales in comparison. And so through all of the things that they were talking about on the live commentary and everything like that, I was like, you know what? The people complaining about struggle, the struggle they're talking about doesn't even come close. I said, you know what? I'm going to do it again. And I said that part out loud instead of in my head. And my cousin that's doing Leadville with me said, what? And I said, I'm doing it again. I'm doing Leadville. And I was way out of condition at this point in time. And so I was like, starting today, I am signing up for coaching. I'm signing up for training. I'm full in. I'm doing Leadville again. I'm going to qualify however I need to do. I'm getting into Leadville, and I'm doing it in memory of my dad. So I said, looking at 6th Street makes me a little emotional over here. But looking at 6th Street and watching people finish this race makes me very emotional lately. I watch the race a lot when I'm sitting on the trainer, things like that. And I mean, in regards to finishing this race, if I can make it through this race and I finish, it will be one of the most rewarding things I've ever worked for. It'll be something that I have been working for since the day that I decided to do this. It's something that I'm doing in memory of my dad, and doing things the way that he taught me to do them. The only way that he would teach me to do anything was how he did it. And that was to do everything that you do for the glory of God, to do everything to the best of your ability so that you can use that to glorify our Father in heaven. And so that's my why. My why is I'm doing this for my dad, and I'm working my tail off so that I can do this to the absolute best of my ability. So I've gone through a lot of training so far, done a lot of hours on the bike, and I'm about to start the Leadville training camp right up here. The Leadville Race Series store is right up there, and I am about to head that way, change into my kit, grab my bike, and head over to the store to start camp. I am really excited about that. I'm really nervous. In 2015, I was 27 years old. I was way younger. Everything was way easier. And, you know, thinking about dropping weight, back then you could kind of think about it and it would just happen. And you wanted to get better at something, congratulations, it was working. Now at 38, things are a lot harder. I've got, you know, I'm a dad. I've got kids that I got to take care of. I have a job that depends on me. I have a wife that depends on me and all of that, and have a lot of things going on. So I'm balancing a lot of different things, but the commitment to this and the commitment to doing this for my dad is pretty big. So I won't keep going too long. I'm kind of ranting. I'm really enjoying the view in the camera of these mountains back here. But I hope you all like this video. I hope you are here to support my why. And I will, after this week, I will recap the camp and what I've learned here. I'm really excited about it. Hopefully I can glean some things. I know the course really well, watched a million videos on it. I've done the race before, succeeded at the race before, and I'm really pushing to do the absolute best that I can. So I'm anxious to see what that is, what my power levels are in the mountains, how the elevation affects me this week, all of that. So I hope you guys like this video. Hope that you are enjoying this journey with me. I know it's only the second rendition of this, but looking forward to doing a couple more. We'll talk about training. We'll talk about bike setup. I'm going to fine tune some of that this week, and then we'll talk to you guys soon. All right. Thanks. Love y'all. Bye.